Comparing your home phone options is a good idea, especially when you can choose between Revoice Home Phone and BTC's home phone service. With Revoice, you get more than 20 free calling features, unlimited local calls, and unlimited calls to any Revoice customer anywhere. All this for just $9.99 a month. And now, we're proud to introduce our Bahama Land Unlimited Nationwide Calling Plan. You can call any phone on any island at any time for just $5 a month. BTC charges $16.25 for their bare bones home phone service. Plus, you would spend $9 to get the 3 most popular calling features, and another $33 to get some of the other calling features Revoice gives you for free. When you add it all up, it's pretty clear why there really is no other choice. Revoice gives you more minutes, more coverage, more calling features, and free installation. All of this for less money. And for a limited time, you can get Revoice installed in your house for free and save over $200 a year. So, if you're choosing a home phone service, choose Revoice, the better choice.
Abaco residents outraged following 2 murders on that island. The Deputy Prime Minister defends the awarding of contracts for a multi-million-dollar government program. Hundreds race for the cure. Plus, why many college students are losing government scholarships. Those stories and a whole lot more coming up. I'm Vonnie Toot, and NB12 Weekend starts now. Topping news tonight, tragedy struck the peaceful island of Abaco this morning after the bullet-riddled bodies of 2 men were discovered. Police officers discovered the first body on a track road shortly before 3 this morning, while the second victim was found lying in the street around 9 a.m. Officers were said to be patrolling S.E. Boodle Highway in the wee hours of the morning when they noticed a man's body slumped over the passenger seat of a light blue Maxima. He had several gunshot wounds. EMS personnel were called to the scene where they pronounced him dead. About 6 hours later, the second body was discovered lying in the street at Bahama, Coral Avenue. Police say the victim, who had gunshot wounds to the back of the head, was also pronounced dead at the scene by a doctor from the Marsh Harbor Clinic. Residents tell us one of the victims is a resident of Mount Hope. Officers from the Central Detective Unit on Grand Bahama traveled to Abaco to assist with investigations. The pain of losing a loved one to violence is a feeling that has become far too common for many families in recent years. Tonight, a 28-year-old man is speaking out more than a decade after losing his brother. He told our Jasmine Bonamy he still lives in fear after witnessing his brother's murder.
It was like a traumatic time, not only for me, for my family, you know.
It's a tragedy that many other families have had to face. And it doesn't end the day their loved one is killed. 28-year-old Carlton Adderley says he is still haunted by his brother's 2003 murder. According to police reports, Carlton's brother was shot 3 times with a shotgun as he went outside to check his car's horn. The 28-year-old says he watched in horror as his brother's life was snatched away, and since then, the bloody scene has been tattooed in his memory. Strung out on drugs and living a life of crime, Carlton says he was blamed by just about everyone for his brother's death.
You know, I was strung out on drugs and using a lot of alcohol and drinking and smoking, and I didn't care, you know what I mean? And
he says he spent the next 9 years of his life living on the streets of New Providence and drifted into the deep abyss of drug abuse.
To be honestly, I do a lot of wrong. I bring a lot of headache and problems to my parents. But this individual who got shot wasn't really the problem child like that. You see what I'm saying? So it put a shift on my life because people started to blame me for it. I was hurt, you know, and I personally been living on and off the streets, you know, growing up, you know, so it was kind of hard.
With his life spiraling out of control and haunted by his demons, he wound up seeking treatment at Teen Challenge Bahamas, where he spent the next year reprogramming himself.
The program is awesome because it really, in my mind, like, I was a person I used to just retaliate. I never used to care. You know, like, now it's more process things before I even act or before I even approach a person. I rather process that first.
Now, Carlton admits each day is still a challenge. However, he says he continues to face those challenges one step at a time. Reporting from Teen Challenge Bahamas, I'm Jasmine Bonamy for NB12 News.
According to police statistics, 357 people were murdered in the past 3 years. Director of Teen Challenge Eric Fox says their distraught loved ones like Carlton never get the professional help they need to fully receive closure.
There's a lot of individuals who have not even been taught how to process that. So to even give advice, when you really think about losing someone, and someone has been brutally taken off the earth, a person you live with, person you grow up with, person you sleep in the same bed and share food with, and then you see other persons walking around. That's a serious thing to swallow, you know. But those individuals need healing. They need to be taught that, hey, listen, if you go and you retaliate upon these persons, and you go and you wipe them out, then you become just like them. I know it's hard. I know it's hard to swallow, but you have to swallow it. You have to swallow it and do the right thing.
119 people were murdered last year. That's up 7% from the 111 lives lost to violence in 2011.
You know, and I'm a type of person, I'm not into responding after the fact, you know. We have another generation that's on the rise, that is looking in the primary schools. They're watching. They're already seeing these behaviors. They know about the young men who can get wiped out. They can tell you about 10 guys who they see hanging around the corner who are already in the grave. People wipe them out. These are young men who go up with them, who will be passing them $1 here, who they know their families and what's not. And they're sitting in the back and say, boy, when I rise, you understand? So we need to reach them quick, unless there's going to be a greater war.
An additional 4 people, including a young woman, have been arrested in connection with this week's $2 million drug seizure on Grand Bahama. Acting on information, Drug Enforcement Unit officers went to a hotel on Beachway Drive Friday afternoon and arrested 2 men ages 49 and 40 of Nicholstown, Andros, and a 21-year-old woman from Jonestown, 8 Mile Rock. Officers then arrested a 4th suspect, a 31-year-old man of 8 Mile Rock on East Beach Drive. Police seized 42 bales of marijuana said to be worth $2 million on Wednesday. Now, on a much more positive note, breast cancer survivors and their many supporters painted the town pink this morning during the Susan G. Komen Race for the Cure. The 5K race series is the largest and most successful awareness and fundraising event for breast cancer in the world. Here are the highlights.
Gentlemen, yes, survivors!
Each woman on this stage has heard the life-changing words, "You have breast cancer." Today, they weren't just racing for a cure, they were racing for their lives. 40-year-old Carrie Beckert got the shocking news last summer. She believes she wouldn't be here today without the love and support of her husband and their 3 children. That's why the family of 5 flew from Maryland and hit the streets of New Providence this morning, just 4 days after Carrie's last chemotherapy treatment.
So we wanted to plan a big celebration for afterwards because the whole family was involved and helped me get through this. So we decided to come here so that we could all celebrate together. And
our life wouldn't really be complete without my mom having cancer. It was supposed to happen.
The Maryland native joined other survivors like Eunice McKinney in this morning's 5K race. The 2.5-year cancer survivor struggled from Montague Beach to Paradise Island this morning, but she made it, and she couldn't be happier.
I just thought that I had to try and do it, and I'm glad I did it. It was great, it was great, it was great.
And as McKinney passed the finish line with sweat on her brow and a smile on her face, she was greeted by these cheerleaders. But breast cancer survivors weren't the only ones to paint the town pink this morning. Decked out in pink tutus, tennis, and even tiny fairy wings, hundreds of people came out at 7 this morning to support this worthy cause.
We're here because we want to support and stand in solidarity with those who suffer from, or who have suffered and who have survived breast cancer or any form of cancer. So that's why the wings.
Well, we decided to go cheerleader because we went tutus last year. So we prefer to do the cheerleaders this year. They're saying that, hey, this is an animal print, more to say that, hey, we are attacking cancer.
Organizer Franklin Wilson says he couldn't be more pleased with this morning's turnout.
To feel the power of oneness. It's just a wonderful feeling being here, hearing the stories.
I wanted to participate to help with the cure, and I did it last year, but I walked last year. I ran this year, the entire race, so it was good.
And if you looked close enough, there were a few familiar faces in the sea of supporters. The last person, and I do mean the last person to cross the finish line, was our very own Candia Dames.
I wondered if there was a prize for that. We were busy talking. I had someone who distracted me. It is slightly embarrassing, but I had a good workout week, so I really just came for fun.
Don't worry, you did well, Candia. And Sunshine Insurance Race Weekend isn't done yet, though. Tomorrow, more than 1,000 long-distance runners from around the world will line up on Montague Beach at 6 a.m. for Marathon Bahamas 2014. They'll compete for top prizes in the half and full marathon and relay categories. 2014 is expected to be the biggest year yet, boasting a 20% increase in participants. Businessman Franklin Wilson says the major event will also air on sports network ESPN.
We're going to make sure that the world gets a glimpse of what the Bahamas is all about. We thank Stan Burnside and his group. We're going to have some Jokunu there. Urban Renewal Band's going to be there. So the world's going to see.
And still to come on NB12, the Deputy Prime Minister defends government's small home repairs program. So stay with us.